November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas. The gunshots ring out, the screams echo through Dealey Plaza. But this time, history takes a cruel and unexpected turn. The bullet that was meant to end the presidency of John F. Kennedy misses its mark, and instead strikes First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy. In an instant, the symbol of American grace and elegance is bleeding out in her husband's arms, her iconic pink Chanel suit now stained with her own life's blood. The world watches in horror as a grieving president holds on to his wife. But what happens next? A president unhinged by loss, a legacy unraveling, a nation spiraling into a different kind of chaos. Without Jackie, does JFK survive politically? Or does he become a shell of the leader he was meant to be? This is the story of what could have been if the gunman missed JFK but hit Jackie O.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
John F. Kennedy, 1917 to 1963, was the 35th President of the United States, serving from 1961 until his assassination in 1963. Known for his charisma, youthful energy, and visionary leadership, he championed civil rights, space exploration, and Cold War diplomacy. He famously navigated the Cuban Missile Crisis, preventing nuclear war, and set the goal for America to land on the moon. However, his presidency was also marked by secrecy, personal scandals, and escalating tensions in Vietnam. His assassination in Dallas on November 22, 1963, at age 46, turned him into an enduring symbol of lost potential and cemented the Camelot myth, largely shaped by Jacqueline Kennedy. 12:30 p.m., Dallas, Texas. In this alternate timeline, Lee Harvey Oswald fires his shots from the Texas School Book Depository. However, as Kennedy leans slightly forward to acknowledge the crowd, the fatal shot intended for him instead strikes Jacqueline Kennedy in the head and neck. JFK, age 46, is unharmed but splattered with Jackie's blood. The famous image of her crawling onto the trunk of the limousine is now reversed. JFK is the one cradling her in horror. Secret Service agent Clint Hill still rushes to the car, but now JFK is screaming for help for his wife, not vice versa. Jackie, age 34, is rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital with massive injuries. November 22nd to 24th, 1963. Jackie undergoes emergency surgery but is declared brain dead within hours. JFK, in shock, is advised to pull the plug, something he agonizes over for nearly 24 hours. November 23, 1963, 4 p.m. CST. Jacqueline Kennedy is pronounced dead. The nation mourns, but JFK does not deliver the iconic, "Let them see what they've done" line. Instead, he is shattered, nearly catatonic, retreating from the public eye. Lee Harvey Oswald is captured alive and interrogated more intensely than in real life. But before he can provide any information, Jack Ruby still kills him on November 24th. JFK refuses to remarry, falling into a deep depression that affects his ability to lead. His back pain worsens, and he increases his use of amphetamines, painkillers, and alcohol. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 still passes, but JFK is far less visible in its push than he was before. Lyndon B. Johnson exerts more influence behind the scenes. With Jackie gone, his numerous affairs become more public and scandalous, tarnishing his image. JFK privately blames the CIA, Cuban exiles, and Lyndon B. Johnson for what happened in Dallas, but never takes public action against them. JFK declines to escalate Vietnam, but loses his resolve on other foreign policies. March 7, 1965. The Selma to Montgomery marches occur, but JFK's support for Martin Luther King Jr. is lukewarm compared to LBJ in real history. November 1965, the United States economy starts to falter. Without Jackie's influence, JFK is far less charismatic and collected in public, leading to more opposition in Congress. 1966. JFK doesn't remarry, but rumors swirl about an affair with Marilyn Monroe, who was alive in this timeline since she wasn't involved with Bobby Kennedy. 1967. The Vietnam War still happens, but at a slower pace, with JFK reluctant to commit troops. Hawkish generals clash with him. 1968. JFK runs for re-election, but is seen as physically weak, emotionally unstable, and unable to control the growing racial tensions and anti-war protests. November 5, 1968. JFK loses to Richard Nixon in a stunning upset. Nixon's Southern strategy works, and without Jackie's calming influence, JFK's public speaking falters in the debates. Bobby Kennedy in this timeline never runs for president in 1968 because his brother is still alive. Without his assassination, the Kennedy myth weakens over time. 1970, JFK, depressed and physically frail, moves to Hyannisport, Massachusetts. He rarely makes public appearances. 1972, he watches Nixon win re-election in a landslide against George McGovern. Watergate still happens, but JFK is too removed to capitalize on it. 1973, with worsening health, he suffers a major stroke and is confined to a wheelchair. June 6, 1975. JFK dies at age 58, alone at his family compound. The press romanticizes his death, but historians later critique his post-1963 presidency as weak, riddled with personal scandals, and ineffective. Without Jackie to preserve his legacy, JFK is remembered more for his failures than his triumphs. Without Jackie, the Camelot myth never fully materializes. Her preservation of JFK's image never happens, and historians evaluate JFK more critically. The Kennedy name does not hold as much weight. Bobby and Ted Kennedy struggle politically without Jackie's influence. In another version of events, Jackie survives but is permanently disfigured and brain damaged. JFK still struggles but remains with her out of obligation. Their marriage turns cold and distant, and she eventually divorces him in the 1970s, something unthinkable in real history. History is fragile. One bullet, one moment, one shift in fate, and the world we know ceases to exist. John F. Kennedy survived that fateful day in Dallas, but at what cost? Without Jackie, without the steadying presence that crafted the myth of Camelot, his legacy crumbled. His second term was not a triumph, but a slow unraveling. His name, once synonymous with hope and progress, faded into a cautionary tale of grief, scandal, and lost potential. This timeline reveals an uncomfortable truth. JFK was not just a man of destiny, but a man shaped by those around him. Without Jackie, his presidency took a darker turn. His leadership faltered. The Kennedy myth never fully materialized. Was he truly the great leader history remembers, or was it Jackie's presence that defined his legacy? Perhaps the real lesson isn't just about what might have happened, but about how much of history is written not by the leaders we admire, but by the people who stand beside them.